In this video, we will discuss macro programs. So those are very similar to what we did in data step. So do you still remember? So in data step, so we have a if then else statement. We may also have do loop. So in macro programs, so you can also have something similar. Here, so you can perform a conditional execution, so with a if then else statement. So the difference is in macro program, so you need to add a percent sign before if and before then and before else. So other than that, I think the syntax are very similar, right? So if, so then followed, then you will have an expression. So SAS will evaluate this expression. If the result is true, so SAS will run the statement after then. So if the expression is false, so SAS will run the statement after else. The expression can be any valid macro expression. And so the statement following then else, so can be a macro programming statement, or maybe constant text, an expression, macro variable reference, or macro call. The else statement is optional. This macro language statement can only be used inside a macro definition. So then we can also have a do and. So we use a do and statement following then or maybe else to generate the text that contains semicolons. Yeah, so basically, so if you want to run a multiple statement in this if then else, right? So then you need to enclose them inside the do and end. Yeah, I think so. We have a similar do and end in for data step. So let's try to show one example. The purpose is we want to write a macro program such that the following code calculate the mean of variable amount in dataset SAS_help.by, and the following code will calculate the median of variable. You can see you compare these two pieces of code. So the name of the macro we want to define is called a cal summary, right? So it has 3 arguments. So the first clearly, so this is the name of the dataset. So then second argument will be the name of the variable, and the third argument, so this is just a character string, right? So tells SAS so what summary statistic I want. Yeah, so right now, so we only implement 2 different options, so can be mean or can be median. Yeah, so this is the code. You can see macro and end, right? So this indicates the beginning and the end of your macro definition. So the cal summary, and also you also need to write cal summary here. So this is name of the macro. So in the parentheses, you have 3 arguments separated by comma, right? So the first one is the name of the dataset, so name of the variable, and so what statistic you want. So the structure here is just see if, then else, right? You can see. So uppercase the test statistic, not test the my stat. So the my stat, so this is the third argument here, right? So notice, so every time, so when you refer to a argument, you need to write a ampersand in front of it. Yeah. See, for this one, so then we use a macro function uppercase, so we just convert that to uppercase letters. So then I compare this one with mean, right? So basically, so if this is true, right? So if it is if the my stat, so if this character is mean, then do end, right? So then basically ask SAS to run everything just we put inside this do end. So this is a procedure, I mean the proc means. So this is used to compute the statistic, right? Yeah, so then we say proc means, and then we say specify name of the data set. Yeah, cause we want to compute mean, right? Yeah, so then we also specify name of the variable. Yeah, so then essentially, so then SAS will run this procedure. So then the next one is for this else, right? So else, then we have another if then else, so nested inside here. So then further, I ask SAS to compare the my stat, the third argument, to median. So if it is the median, right, then so we have a do and. Yeah. So the difference seems only this part. You can see it. So we just replace this mean by median. Okay. So else, so I mean, if it is not mean and not median, so then I ask SAS to put this text in log window. Yeah, so then we will say, so the statistic, so this statistic is not supported. Okay. Yeah. So let's try to define run the definition for this macro. Okay. So then we run the first one. Basically, we want to compute the mean. So here I intentionally write this as small letters, right? Yeah, but this should be fine because in your code, SAS run the mean. I mean, generate the mean. If you yeah, so SAS run this guy. See, if you change this to maybe this to a capital letter, so that's fine, right? Yeah, so the same output. Just because, see, when we do the comparison, we change those letters to capital letters and then compare with this guy. Okay. So notice, so here I write quotation mark, right? Yeah, because in the third argument, so this is a character string. Yeah. So see, suppose we run the second one, so that should be median, right? So SAS will compute median. Okay. So the third one, STD, so because we do not have that, right? Okay. Right, see, in the log window, so SAS will say the statistic is not supported. So, okay. Yeah, so this is this example. I think so here I have a second example. Basically, so here I think I just want to say we can basically for this I mean that's more than one way to write the code. Okay. Let me check this one. I'm a little bit okay, yeah. So then what is this code? So basically I just want to simplify the code. You can see for this piece of code, so I have proc means, right? Seems the difference of these two parts is just, see, for this option are different, right? Then how about we rewrite the code in this way? So basically according to your input, right? So you just extract appropriate option, right? So then you just run that proc means. So basically you just need to put a proc means in one place. Yeah, so then this one will be easier to, to read your code. Right? You can see. look at here. So this is a different way basically to define the code. So first one inside of my macro. So now I call it a cal summary 2, right? So inside of this macro. So then I just first I define a macro variable I called stat list. So I just include the mean and median. Okay. So then this is if then else. According to the input, right? So then I just see for this then, so I just create a new macro variable. I call it my stat code, right? So or for this, see if the input, if the third argument, this one, my stat, so this is the third argument. So then I change that or the letters to capital letters, right? I compare it with mean. If this one is true, so then I create a macro variable. So the name is my stat code. So the value will be mean. So if this is not true, so then I further compare the my stat, I mean the third argument to median, right? So if it is true, I mean if the third argument is median, so then I the my stat code, so this macro variable, so the value will be median, right? So the otherwise the my code, right? So then this will be defined as a non value, and so we'll also put this text in log window. Yeah, so then I just want to check. So if because here I only support mean and median, right? So then in this index, so I search the my code. So I just created, right? So if I can search the code here, yeah, so means so the third argument is either mean or median, right? So then I will run proc mean. Okay, yeah, so otherwise, so I do not run proc mean. So let's check the result of this one. Okay. Yeah, so then for this one, so it shows the mean, right? For the second one, it shows the median. And for the third one, it shows nothing, right? But here says, so this argument is not supported. Okay. Yeah, so different, well, so here first I just want to say the definitely, so the macro, the solution is not unique. So there are more than one way to do it. Yeah, so depending on how you write your program. Yeah, in fact, so right now, so I just want to mention a third way to write the function. So my data, my var, and my stat. Okay, so then I will write and cal summary 3. Okay. So what inside is I directly write my code in this way. Proc means data equals to and my data, then and my stat, not state, stat, semicolon, var, my var, right, then I write. See, what's this one? This one just see, I specify the my data, so the data will be here, my variable will be here, right? And so then whatever the third argument you use, so SAS just put it here. So you can just directly put the option here, right? But notice, so here, so you should drop this quotation mark. So let me show you the result first. You run this one. You can see for the first one, right? See, oh, sorry, this is not 2, so this should be 3. 3 and 3. Yeah. So then you run the first one. You can see, get the mean, right? See this one and get the median. This one is even better, and so for STD, so it can also get the STD. but you cannot write a quotation mark, right? See, if you add quotation mark, error. Why? Because see, if you add quotation mark, right? So basically, so then what SAS do is, see, when SAS replace those macro variable by the things you provided, see, this is a name, SAS will replace that. This is the variable list, SAS will replace this guy. So whatever third argument here, so including this quotation mark, SAS will put it here. Clearly, so since you cannot put a character string here, right? So when we use proc means, so this is the way you write the code, right? But not this way. Okay, right? Yeah. So this is why here you cannot include a quotation mark. Yeah, so basically, so how you call this function just depend on how those macro is defined. Yeah, so hopefully, so this will not make you confusing. Yeah. Well, so if you have further questions, so you can always contact me. We can also have a do loop. So basically, iterative processing. The iterative do statement can repeatedly execute a macro language statement, and it can also generate SAS code. The syntax is very similar to what we have before in data step. In the do statement, right, so we will have a index variable, yeah, so equals, so start from some value to some value, and with a by some with some increment. So then you just put a statement in between, right? So SAS will run those statements repeatedly. Yeah, so this do this end, so with the percent sign, so those statements are valid only inside a macro definition. So this index variable, so this is also a macro variable. Yeah, so this will be a macro variable. The start, stop, increment value can be any valid macro expression that resolve to integer. So this by, so this increment is optional, and by default the increment is 1. So let's look at this example. So the purpose of this code, this macro is, so we want to print the first several observations for a dataset in a SAS library. For example, so what does this mean? For example, so if you check the current work library, you can see work library. Currently, I have two of them, right? Okay. So what I want SAS to do is, I want SAS just to print the first 5 observations for these 2 variables. And so I want to make my code more general. So this is why I define a macro. Yeah, because so the issue here is for this macro, for this library. So I don't know how many observations, how many data sets in this macro variable. So basically, first I need to get the name of the macro variable, and then I need to, so first I need to get the name of the dataset in that library, right? And then for each of them, so then I use a pop print to display the contents. Yeah. So this is what we will do. Okay. You can see porc print lib. So I define a macro. So the name of the macro will be the print lib. So it has 2 arguments. So one called lib, one called OBS. So see here, I say lib equals something, OBS equal to something. So this just indicate a default value, right? So if you do not specify a argument in this macro, so then the default value for the library will be work, and for the OBS, so will be 5. So first I just let Okay, so this let equal to uppercase. So basically, for this library, I just changed that to uppercase letters. So then in this data step, so I want to get the name of name of the dataset. So then SAS has a, we need to get from here. See, SAS help VS table V. So what's that? So this is a default. Let me show you. So this is a dataset in SAS help library proc print data equal to this one. So what's this one? So if you run this guy, so it just shows so what's the dataset available here, right? See, name, right, and also the library. I think so we can check the work. Maybe in the end we have work. See, we have two dataset, right? Yeah. So basically, if you for this dataset, so it contains the name of all dataset available currently in SAS Studio. Yeah, so including all SAS library. So if you want to get the name of the dataset, so essentially you just need to read this dataset and then find those whose the library name equals to the name you want. Yeah, so notice, so for those the name of the library, so SAS just in here, so all of them are capital letters. Yeah, so this is why, so here I just change the name of this argument to uppercase letters. Yeah, so then I read this one where, right, see, the name of the library, so should be equal to, see, the name of this library. So this lab, so this is just the input, the first argument. Yeah. So then I just call, so I use a simputx, so this function to create macro variables. Yeah, so dsn, and use this one combined with this underscore n underscore. So then the macro variable created, so will be the dsn1, dsn2, dsn3, right? Yeah, just according to how many macro variable you have. And then, yeah, so basically the name of the mem name is this guy, see, mem name, right? Yeah, so this just will be the name of the dataset. So name of the dataset, so will be used as a value to be assigned to this macro variable. So if final is this temporary variable we created here, this just indicates the end of the dataset, right? So if we reach the end of that dataset, so then we push another macro variable. So this will be underscore n. Yeah, because we don't know so how many dataset in this library, right? Yeah, so this just indicate just the number of the dataset, so will be saved to this macro variable. So then in this do loop, so we just want to print the observations of each dataset, right? See, %sign do, see from 1 to this one. So this is a macro variable we just defined here, right? So just see from 1 to the total number of dataset in that library. So then we just run proc print. So then the name of the dataset will be, see, the name of the library dot this one. What's this one? Let me explain this one. So first, we mentioned, so dot, so indicate the end of a macro variable, right? So an end, to end, right? So what SAS do is, see, SAS will first resolve this one, see, and I, because I will go from 1 to n, right? So basically when I is 1, right, so what we do is SAS will first solve, see, do you still remember the rules that SAS will use to resolve these multiple these sample end? See, two sample end will be replaced by one, right? Okay, will be replaced by one. So then for the remaining ones, also if there are some any macro variable, SAS will resolve it because this I is 1, right? So SAS will replace this by 1. So means SAS will resolve this one by the value of dsn1. dsn1, so see, dsn1 and dsn2, so those things are defined in here, so will be the name of the macro variable. So this will be replaced by, name of the dataset. So this will be replaced by the name of the dataset, and so this will be replaced by the name of the library, right? So for example, so this will just becomes work dot, I think the first dataset is by, right? By, yeah. So then you will get that, because this dot indicate end of the library, right? So then the second dot, so SAS just keep there. So if you only write one dot, so if you write one dot in this way, right? So then the value just will be work. See, this dot indicates the end of the name, right? So then you will have the next macro variable. SAS will give you this one. This is not what we want, right? So because we want a dot in the middle, yeah. So to separate the name of the library and the name of the dataset, yeah. So this is why we need two dot here. Okay. Yeah. So then similarly, see for the title, so here we have a two dot, right? Yeah. So we run this one. We run here. So notice, so here, see, we only specify the first argument. The second argument is missing. Yeah. If it is missing, SAS will use 5. We will use the default value 5. So if you run this one, SAS is processing because SAS will read all dataset in that library. Yeah. So if there are too many datasets, so it may take a while for SAS to run. In fact, so SAS should run that very quickly. So the only time-consuming part is to generate the output. Yeah, because the output are essentially in the HTML file, right? And so it takes time to generate that file. If you check this window, seems this is it's moving, it's changing, right? Yeah, because every time, so when SAS read a dataset, so see, you can see this is the log window is changing. Yeah, because indicate SAS is processing. Well, so the result is too long anyway, so let's just display it and to see so how it looks like. See, where is the dataset? I ask SAS to display it. Okay, sorry, I think the web, I think, so this is frozen. Yeah, maybe so that's too long. Yeah, because this is a web version, right? So online version, so usually so it has some restrictions on the memory, on the size of the memory you can use. Yeah, so if it is too large, so it is very slow. Yeah, so if you can install SAS on your own computer, so definitely, so that will be much faster. Okay. Okay. So let's wait for the results. Yeah, so while it is processing, maybe we check the comments. Okay, so yeah, here just mentioned, see, the parameters in a SAS macro can have default values. Yeah, so this is just specified by this equal certain value. So those will be the default value. This dataset contains the name of all SAS dataset, so that are in current defined SAS libraries. So you can see for each of the dataset, right? So SAS just show two, not two, the first 5 argument. I'm sorry, first 5 observations. Yeah, so this will be a lot. This is just another way. Yeah, so see, without any argument, right? So the default one is work. Okay, let's see, ask SAS 2 of them, right? So SAS just show the first 5 observation for both. For this one only, because it has only it only has 3 observations. Of course, SAS will only show 3 observations. Next example. So we can also define a macro to be used in a data step, right? Yeah, so for this macro, SAS just find a word containing a string in this text, right? And then assign it to a variable name. Okay. You can see this is do loop. Notice there's no percent sign in this do loop, right? So for the first argument, so this is just will be the count. Sorry, I mean will be a string. Yeah, will be a text string. This just will be a name of a variable, so I want to create. Okay. So string. So this is a string that I want to search. So in this do loop, right? So I goes from one to this one, just to basically how many tags we have in this string. Okay, and then I just use find basically to see so whether basically for each of the word, right? So whether that word contains this character string or not. Yeah, so if it is, right, so then I will create a variable name. So this variable name will equal to this string. This may look kind of a weird. Yeah, so let me maybe show this one first, and then you will know. Okay, so here, input the tags, right? So I have one tag, text 1, text 2, right? So what I want to do is, so basically for these tags, right? So I just want to find the word so that contains these characters, right? And so I want to assign that word to a new variable called word1, right? So basically, see, for this one, right? So the word1 should be Tom and Jerry. Then for a second variable word2, okay, so I want to scan the tags and to find the word that contains a heaven, right? So if it contains heaven, so then that word will be assigned to word2. So then I want to for word3, I want to search for the word that contains letter N, right? So if it contains that, so I will assign that to word3. Yeah, so maybe we run this code first, and then we will explain. Yeah, so we run that one. This one, the text looks weird. Oh, I think so that because there are something. Let me put it in a different place. Put it here. Okay. Let me run it. Yeah, you can see. So see, word 1 is Tom and Jerry, right? Word 2 means something contains that heaven. Okay. Word 3 means the word contains the letter N, right? Yeah. So then let's just explain. So the meaning of this piece of code. So first, see this do, to, and and, right? And also if and then. So that's no percent sign. So the reason is, so for this piece of macro, so I suppose I want to use those inside the data step. See, for data step, when we use do, and, if then, so there's no need to use that percent sign. Okay. So then the first thing I want to do is, so then I see for the text, so basically for the first argument, I just count, so how many words it is in that text, right? So then I just search that string in that word. Okay, so I want to, so if I find that word, so then this variable, right? So basically I just assign that value of that word to that variable. Yeah, so basically, essentially, so because I call this macro 3 times, essentially, so SAS run, I mean, when SAS run the code, right? So this of the do loop just will be replaced inside of this one. So what I mean is, see, let me try to explain that. So what SAS run is, see, for the first do loop, the first one, right? So essentially just will be replaced by this. Okay, right? See, the text, so this is the first argument, will be replaced by here, here, and here. The second argument is word 1, right? So is will be replaced by here. The third argument is this symbol will be replaced by here. You can see. So this is the first, basically for the first macro, SAS will do this replacement. For the second one, also the similar, right? Well, so the text, okay, so will be replaced here, here, and here. So second argument, word 2, yeah, so then we will replace here. Third argument, string, will be replaced here, right? And so also for the third one, for word 3, right? Yeah, so basically just word 3 and the n, so will be replaced here. Yeah. So essentially, so what I mean is for those macro, right? So when SAS runs this piece of code, so what SAS do is SAS will first so replace macro by the corresponding definition, right? So those 3 macro will be replaced by these 3 do loop, and then SAS essentially will run this one. Of course, so this piece of code compared with this one, see, this will be much easier to read, right? And so because so this piece 3 do loop, so they are very similar. So you only change them slightly. So then it is much convenient to you. I mean, you write those as macro, right? And so then in this way, so your code will be much easier to read and maintain. Yeah. So this is this example. The last slide, the include statement. It is common to write a SAS macro function in a separate file and load it when necessary. Yeah, so the include statement just copies the SAS statement from external file to the input stack. And so it is a global SAS statement. Yeah, so you just include a separate SAS file in this way. So it is equivalent. So basically you just copy paste this SAS code in your current SAS code. Yeah, so this is include statement. I think we have already explained everything here. Okay.